All right, guys, welcome back. This is going to be Sunday. I'm just going to call these Sunday meditations slash reflections. This is number 6. And yeah, these are my raw thoughts. So I want to say one more thing. I know I said this on the last one. Some of these that I have now that I remember, I captured throughout this last week. I know that I think I was in a darker than more or a more socially and culturally critical state of mind, which means I'm going to be having some social commentary kind of attacking the way that the system is a little bit. So I'm going to definitely dial it back. These are definitely raw thoughts, but I want you to keep that in mind while I'm going through these. I will need to kind of maybe not fully correct myself, but I know that some of this stuff could be, I don't know, frowned upon or a little bit controversial. So just keep that in mind. I'm fully aware of that. And normally these would be thoughts that just pass through my mind. But the point of doing these is to show you guys the kind of thoughts that we all have. So I'm just modeling that for you guys. Okay. That being said, let's get rolling here. First one that I have here. We've got to stop digitalizing everything. This one is me thinking about it in a way. I'm not anti-tech, okay? I'm not. In fact, I believe in technology. But I also believe that in a lot of ways we're misusing it. It's becoming a security issue. It's becoming a privacy issue for us, of course, right? Not necessarily for the people that are policing it or enforcing it or that kind of stuff. Of course, that's by design. That's what they pretty much want. But for you and I mean, we just, we're out here just trying to enjoy our lives. The little bit that we can. I think most of us, I don't even think we're all looking for, a ton of money. We're not. I feel like we just want to care about the people that we care about. We want to have a little extra to put into some savings. I'm not talking about building an absolute fortune of generational wealth. Nothing like that. I mean, it'd be nice, yeah, if we could fall into that, sure. But most of us, I think we just want to exist out here, and just be able to do some things, maybe do a little traveling, and, just be able to do some things with the people we love, or even if, we want to do some dating or something like that, just have a little bit extra money so that, we don't feel like, I don't know, that we don't feel broke after we do everything. That's the big picture. And I know a lot of that, if we're being honest, I think in the culture that we're in, I think a lot of it, we're really outsourcing ourselves in a lot of ways. And what I mean by that is we're spending a lot more on entertainment. We're spending on applications. I mean, DoorDash. I mean, we're spending a lot of money on that kind of stuff for the convenience and the comfort so that we don't have to go out and do these things ourselves. Okay, that is, I'm not going to say that that's a problem if you have the money, but if you're like riding that line, these are some of the things you could just shave off. I mean, you know what I mean? And all those subscriptions that you have, if you're wondering where your money's going, you know what I mean? Take a good hard look. And I think you're going to figure that out. Now, if you're on this channel, more than likely you're already aware of a lot of this stuff and you've probably already shaved it off. But the point I was trying to make here is that we keep fragmenting everything into something that is digitalized. And what I'm trying to say is we need to stay in touch with reality. In fact, some of the things that I've noticed is, and actually I was just thinking about this morning. I didn't capture this one down, but I love gaming. I still do, even though I've kind of put it off to the side to be able to do this and to be able to keep up with my life and my family and the business that I have. It's hard. That's like its own addiction. That even being on my phone, which I mean, I have minimized a lot of my usages of all technology, generally speaking, and not as like an anti-tech thing, just as a like getting back in touch with reality, because technology is not, or reality is not built all around the technology. It's the other way around. Reality is its own thing, and technology is like integrated into it. So what I'm saying here is that I feel like we had a lot of fun growing up, but it was kind of an illusion because of technology. And I'm going to slow this one down because I think that this one's kind of important. I hope you guys are all like really in with me here, sitting with me. I think our parents did a lot for us, and they created a reality that was fun and exciting, and something that we're trying to now replicate on our own without our parents. And it's really, really hard to do that now. So we almost have an illusion of what things used to be like. Games, arcades, going on family vacations. If you even had that as a luxury or something that your parents did for you, even just going on a camping trip, a few miles away from your own home, whatever it is, we had a lot of fun growing up. And now we're lacking in a lot of that fun. And we're trying to figure out how to make life fun again. And I'm personally finding it very nearly impossible to do that. I mean, how can I can hardly even afford to do half the things that I can do right now. You know what I mean? Like, I want to go out, I want to go see the world, I want to go take some trips, I want to go exploring, and I want to serve others doing that too. I want to help people too. It's not just like I want to go just be some freelance guy that just, goes off in the woods like some hermit or hobbit or something, and just completely disconnects, even though sometimes I think about doing just that because of the fact that I don't think that I can have fun and remove myself from this system in any way. So you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's just me being on the extreme end of things. But the core point I'm saying here is digitalization needs to be more balanced with reality. That's really what I'm trying to say here. We just keep digitalizing everything, and that even includes. Well, maybe now's not the time to kind of bring this up because this one's going off on a different note on the same thing. Is that even the money that we have? With crypto and all this kind of stuff, we're trying to make like a digitalized currency. I mean, like part of keeping things in reality is keeping hard cash or anything, even gold or whatever, if we want to go back to trading with precious metals or whatever. But it needs to be physical in your hand, otherwise somebody can control that. And I know that this is all over the internet and such like that, but it's important to realize that once it gets into a digital account, you're not in control of the internet. You're not in control of these companies that own the websites or whatever it is that you're going on to look at your balance and your bank account. So, you know what I mean? Like, when it goes digital, you've lost control. They might give you the illusion that you're in control, and they've got all of these different, two-factor authentication and your account's secure and private. I've worked in big tech for about 2 years in a big company. I'm not going to disclose the name, but I've seen what's going on behind the scenes, and you're a lot more vulnerable than you realize. I'm not going to be some whistleblower here. I'm not going to say that it's not a bad system, but you're trusting the people that are running that system. And once they kind of get your compliance and they get you feeling secured, that's when they take advantage of you. So I'm saying, I think it should be a split is what I'm saying. I think both equally matter. So this is me kind of saying, stay in the middle. Let's keep cash, and we can also do digital, but let's do both, okay? Not eliminate one or the other. Okay. Okay, and this was me talking just about that on this next one, so let's skip that. I used to wonder why I'd never seen too many good, kind souls out or bumping into them. Maybe it's a frequency thing, and it's probably a part of it. But now I see it a little bit differently. And I think it's because the world's a little messed up and good people get used, abused, taken advantage of. And while I've spent my own life dedicated to helping others, being burned, being hurt, I understand why when people ascend and learn their lessons like me and you, or maybe one do you if you haven't fully ascended yet. I don't know what I was trying to say here. Why they chose to eventually stay more secluded, chose their people, chose how they help, because once you've done it yourself, you know how hard it really is to do it, to embody it, to sustain it, and how hard it is to help others do the same. It's easier to do it through books and videos, It's not that we hide or that we don't want to. It's just other people either don't understand, or they need a lot of work, or won't take us seriously. And the world's a little messed up for good people. I think the world looks a lot different for people like us. And whether that's a cultural, personal, or world problem, I'm not sure. But it's one that still hasn't been solved in all this time, and maybe never will. I know what the truth is, but it's hard to speak truth to crowds. And I've seen that kind of floating around in a lot of different philosophical channels and such like that. The big picture here, what I'm really getting at, is that spirituality, and I'm going to just use one example, spirituality, well, actually, I'm going to use multiple examples. Spirituality, or becoming your true highest self, being the most pure version of you that you can be, bringing through whoever you want to be into this world, and doing it without being scared or without like worrying all the time. You know what I mean? Just doing it and feeling okay with it, even if people don't necessarily agree with it. Okay, it's really hard to get there and stay there. I think when we're younger, it's easier because we're all learning and we don't know enough, okay? And we're figuring things out. But as we get older, we get locked into the system, we get locked into other people's problems, we get locked into what, what the company that we keep and the environments that we go in. You know what I mean? We get used to that and we just regulate ourselves based on those, and we become comfortable in those areas. What I'm saying, though, is that I know how hard it was for me to get here. And if I'm being honest, I think I had a really good situation. I'm not saying I didn't have to work. I'm not saying I didn't have to bleed or sacrifice, but I had probably a leg up that maybe a lot of other people didn't have, because I just had a really great set of parents that never forced beliefs on me, and they were stable. They weren't rich, but they were stable enough to give me a home, maybe a little dysfunctional at times. But you know what I'm saying? Like, so it allowed me to continue. And I know how long and dark that road was for me, full of ups and downs. I'm not saying it was completely dark, but there were some dark times. And what I'm saying is, I think I had a pretty good road looking back on it after talking to a lot of people, seeing other people's situations and understanding that. So what I'm ultimately getting at is that I feel like, while I feel like times are changing right now, and I think people are really waking up and desiring this kind of stuff now, throughout those 30 plus years that I've been on this road, more than that, I mean, I'm older than that, but I'm just saying, like, during that 30-year journey of my own, when I decided to kind of jump on this and do this and take it seriously, I've noticed that when I try to help people or do things or share my insights and stuff like that, people either A, don't get it, or B, they just, they're not ready for it. Like, timing is a big thing for people. It's like trying to force things on people. You just can't do that. People just aren't ready for it, or they don't understand it, or they'll listen to you, but, maybe they just don't intend on changing or caring that much about things. Like, they've got their own issues or problems going on. So, I guess, let me take a look one more time. Let me just make sure I'm not straying too far off of this. The whole point. Bumping into people in public. I always wondered why I didn't bump into, like, people that are like me right now. I mean, like, obviously it took me some time. And I'm not boasting by any means, but I'm just saying, like, why didn't I bump into people like me along the way? And also, the people that are like me, why don't we go out there and just, yell from the rooftops, hey, be happy, all that, because reality thinks that that's fake. They do. Or they just think that you're just, crazy. Or maybe that you're on drugs or something like that, right? What is this crazy guy doing? Can't he see that 99% of the other population isn't like that? Can't they see that we're all miserable down here just trying to get through our lives? What makes this guy any different? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, culturally, it's hard to be a person like me or probably like you and get out there and kind of do these things. So that's why I realize people like me usually isolate. We usually write it in books because it's going to be something that hopefully somebody finds it at the right time, that timing and lining up, because reality kind of looks a little bit different out there than it does here. Wow, I took a lot of time on these thoughts. Oh, I'm sorry if I'm bleeding anybody's ears. I like to keep these a little bit quicker than this. There's good stuff in here, though. Okay, let's move on. Ideas are like fruits. Pick them before they go rotten. I mean that in the most nearly literal way. The ideas that you have in your mind, when they come to you, they're the ripest at that time. So pick them if you like them and kind of jot them down, put them somewhere. Otherwise, they actually like, what's the best way to kind of, where was I really going with this? They degrade over time. You're not going to remember how clear that thought was to you, or the rawness, the emotional. I mean, you can see that with all the things that I've captured here. You know what I mean? I haven't cleaned these up and they're not overly polished like a gemstone. So ideas, I treat ideas literally like growing organisms within us. It's up to you. You know, do you want to water these ideas and keep them going? Are they ready to be picked? You know, that's up to you to decide. Okay. But I have noticed that when I miss a thought or something like that, they're never as good as they were when they happen. I mean, thoughts do evolve cyclically over time. I've noticed that too. So even if you miss it, it'll probably come back even better. That's not what I'm saying here though. I'm just saying like they'll go bad if you don't like pick them when they come. Okay. There's a little bit of a contradiction there if you caught me doing that, but it's a true contradiction. That's the big picture. It's not going to make sense at first, but after you notice the patterns of your own creative thoughts and things like that, you're going to realize that thoughts that are coming through you at any given time, they're probably going to be the ripest they are at that time, especially if you could feel it and you're like, wow, this is a really good thought. But also, they keep evolving over time too, but you'll never get the same version of a thought, okay? Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it's not a good thing. You know, sometimes they synthesize, or they connect with other ideas and systems ideas that you have. And you won't realize this, you might not realize this is even going on if you're a creative thinker. I have spent decades thinking and being aware of my own thoughts and my own creation to help other people and to help myself understand myself and how that works. So, you know, you're getting some cream of the crop stuff here when it comes to creative ideas and how they actually work. I mean, you literally, the darkness of your mind is the soil, okay? And anytime that something kind of runs through your head and it's an idea, that's the seed. That's up to you. Do you want to water that? Do you like it enough? Focus on it. Think about it for a while, but don't kill it. Because your focus is like the sun, too, on these. Like, you know, if you're thinking about that idea, that's like the sun beaming at the soil and drying it out, okay? Sometimes you got to let the soil rest and let that thought start to grow over time, and then it'll come back to you, and it'll be more matured and have grown up, and it'll have multiple thoughts that you've had from experiences and ideas that you've had, and it'll make that thought even better. So keep that in mind. If the thought's supposed to come back to you, it will, and it usually comes back even better. But like I said, at some point, once that fruit has matured, you got to pluck that off there, otherwise it's going to go rotten. Okay? And it's hard to know exactly when that is. I think thoughts will just endlessly evolve. So you got to pick a good time to pick that harvest. Okay, let's move on. I danced around that one a little bit. Okay, what are we at here? 19 minutes. Let's go one more. Dang, I really, man, I got to be a little bit quicker with these, I think. Okay, I think some of us are real and some of us aren't. Or maybe some of us are awake and some of us are asleep. This one came to me from Fight Club, the movie Fight Club. And, man, if you've ever seen Fight Club, then you probably can understand what I'm trying to say there. I'm trying to remember the exact scene that I might have seen this at that made me think about this. I can't recall it off the top of my head. But, so maybe that's some homework for you guys. Go watch Fight Club and think about this one. But I feel like some of us are just NPCs out here. And I know that we're all human beings and we all have a soul within us somewhere, whether or not it's layered and suppressed or whatever. But I think some of us are just fully out here, consciously aware and paying attention and caring about things. Whereas I think other people they're kind of just drifting through life. Maybe the light has left them, that kind of thing. But if you're on this channel, you've probably heard something like this before. So I won't go into too much detail on this one. I just really think that I wish we could all be here as people and all be together. And really all be happy, find our own sense of happiness. And I know how complicated that is to do that. Okay, we have everything fragmented in the world, different classes of people, different brackets of making money, different quality of the way that people look, and how even people think of themselves and how they look and who they are as people. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so many different ways to classify people, label them, define them in different ways, and we all get trapped somewhere along that road in doing that, and we get lost in that, and we don't realize that life's a little bit more fluid than that, and we could be whoever we want at any given moment. We don't have to always be the same person or same defined role when we're in public or when we're at work. We could be a little bit different. Don't again, I say the same thing all the time. Don't hurt anybody, especially don't hurt yourself. And just, be careful, don't go out there just randomly offending people to do that, or, to piss people off just to do it for the sake of it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not suggesting that you do that, but, you can put a little flair out there, have a little fun. And I think a lot of people forget that you can do that. And, we're all people. We all want to feel connected. We all want somebody to, tap us on the shoulder and be like, hey man, I care about you. Things are going to get better, that kind of stuff. Or you see some stranger and you're just like, man, how's your day going? I mean, just bumping into somebody, but doing it with that energy. You know what I mean? Like, coming in positive, like you actually care. And I do. I'm not saying fake it. Well, maybe this is a good time to say fake it until you make it on that. All right. If you're kind of in a gloomy thing, it might take some practice to kind of pull you out into that positivity. It takes practice. It takes time. So keep that in mind, that, the first couple times maybe you do that, you try to bring that energy, you might feel a little weird about it because you're not used to doing it, okay? All right, guys, that's all I got on this one. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for being here. See you guys there.